Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 10D. I'm Pranjal Banige, and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 11th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, ICICT 2026, in London, UK. The 11th edition of this conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held a day before yesterday in London, UK. The virtual event is being held through Zoom from 25th to 27th February 2026. I hope you'll enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for questions and answers. In 10 minutes, I'll raise a gentle reminder. There's another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any queries or updates, you can write it to me or to my co-host in the chat box. Just before we start the session, I would like to introduce you all to the session chairs of this session. Dr. Astha Parikh. She is a senior professor in the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology at IIS in Jaipur, India. Her research and academic focus includes data mining, artificial intelligence, and sustainable technologies, reflecting her active engagement in advancing interdisciplinary computing research. I would now like to invite Doctor to give her opening remarks.
Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you so much.
Would you like to give any remarks? Okay, then moving forward, I would, since our other session chair is not present right now, I would like to start with the presentations. First of all, I would like to invite Mattia Mikats to present his paper on AI chatbot, assisted complete artifact generation of assistive applications for children with special needs. You may start with your presentation.
Okay,
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
I'm
interrupt.
trying to share my screen. Okay, now it will be okay. Thank you. Just a second. Okay, you can see it. Is it shared?
Yes,
Okay,
it is visible. You can continue here.
okay. Good afternoon or good evening, whatever. To everyone, thank you for your introduction. Well, I'm Matija Mikac from Croatia. I work with my colleague, Professor Logojar, at Department of Electrical Engineering at University North in Croatia. And I would like to present our paper or our research with this title you already mentioned is basically, to make it short as possible, it's about our research on and on our proposed workflow that will help non-technical caregivers, educators, or parents create assistive applications for children with special needs. Uh, I'm have initially I need to give our motivation for that. Well, our experience, which is basically engineering and programming coding, uh, is a kind of starting point of our research. Namely, I had the opportunity to develop some simple application for kids with some special needs and problems in education. And in some classical way, I would spend hours and hours for that. But late in last few years, when AI came into our scope, that development time shortened significantly, and it was possible to develop that kind of application for kids quite fast with help of some free or commercial AI chatbots. However, my approach was adaptive as in contrast to something that we are proposing today. So I spent certain amount of time, but much less than in classical way, to develop a fully functional application. But now, related to this paper and workflow we propose, we ask ourselves, is it possible to find a way to use AI chatbots so that non-technical skilled, so people without any technical skills could develop assistive applications for their own children. For instance, parents with no manual coding at all, could they develop application for their kid when needed, fast and without any additional resources. Our research that is presented in this paper in depth shows that that's possible, and we propose something we called complete artifact workflow, or CAW, which is actually an approach suggesting few steps how to create a valid and functional application without any coding, using standard freely available AI chatbots such as ChatGPT. Our paper, that's something that I won't cover here in presentation because of time limits. Our paper includes also a cross comparison of other freely available chatbots such as Claude, Copilot, DeepSeek, and Gemini. And of course, if someone has paid versions, the results could be even better. What we found in this research, and it was quite surprisingly for me, it surprised me, is that if well prepared, meaning prompt design should be carefully made, we have shown that all these free chatbots can produce completely functional applications in one single step, so that parent, educator, anyone without any technical skills can simply define some question, properly define and structure a prompt based on our suggestions, and the chatbot will generate standalone HTML file, which is basically something we call artifact or application, which is when opened in web browser, completely independent offline web application that includes HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It can be executed on any platform in any standard web browser. And what's the most important, it has no external dependencies. It functions completely without network or anything else. That's something that's very important and shows the abilities of this workflow. Initial stage in our workflow is creating proper prompts, something we can call prompt design. And in this case, the secret lies in the prompt structure. We proposed defining an invariant fixed prompt segment, which covers common requests, which are usually directly related to technical requirements. In our case, that could be we need I don't know, web application that can be executed offline, that has a responsive design that adapts to different screens, etc., etc. But also, it must be stated that this fixed prompt segment is usually kid or child related, because any kid with special needs is different. Some generalizations are possible, but it highly depends on diagnosis. Of course, sadly there are kids that even cannot use that. Software-based solutions are not something that's universal, that can be used by anyone. but our scope is on kids and on scenarios where software-based interventions are beneficial. So we are just covering that part of children with special needs. Also, in addition to this fixed prompt, which is fixed for all case studies or all applications developed for certain kid, application functionalities, visualizations, certain optional parts of applications are described in in variable segment, which is application based. So each prompt we use in our and we propose in this workflow is actually consists of fixed part and variable segment, which is application related. Our study or our research was based on two relatively simple case studies. One mathematical addition quiz application, which was finally defined with a prompt of approximately 240 words, and a little more complex application. We call it calendar learning application. Is actually application where kid can learn about dates, about months, about seasons, and similar. All these applications require some text-to-speech features or anything similar. So this calendar learning application is a little more complicated than first one, and it was defined with prompt with variable part of prompt of total of 360 words. Both case studies use the same fixed prompt segment, and results were showing something that surprised me really. I wasn't thinking about that all the results will be such applications that function well, cover all the requirements, and actually almost can be used. But our engineering approach always raises some questions. So we asked, could that be better? Of course, it can. Here you can see a kind of gallery of solutions for case study 1 and case study 2. You can see that these solutions are not rich in design, and it's probably not something that would engage the kid for a long time. So there are some design issues that should be considered, and most probably the prompts should be refined and additionally extended in order to customize or make applications more effective to kids. But functionally, functionalities that required were covered 100%. So the only thing we did in this paper was performing a kind of evaluation of those results, just to pick which of obtained results is little better than other one. What we concluded was that technically this complete artifact workflow works. It really produces functional applications, but there is always this but. Additional data from kids, from others, should be taken into account. Also, interdisciplinary cooperation should be included. We came to this idea and to this research only from our technical engineering side. We didn't contact, I don't know, rehabilitators, educators, or even parents with other kids, so that our future work should include this interdisciplinary communication or also evaluation of these results, because our technical evaluation is not something that can be valued in those among pedagogues or other specialists. But the most important thing here was that we really got the results that were surprising and that actually show that any parent, any educator, without any technical knowledge is today using freely available chatbots and with little time spent to define proper prompts is really able to develop assistive application that can be used by their own kids. And I believe that's a quite important thing because parents are often alone in their fight for those kids, and by this approach, both parents and children can benefit. So that's actually really shortened what we presented in our paper. I didn't show you exact results here in this presentation, but it's available online on this website, so you can try and check all the obtained applications or solutions for required case studies. And also, if you find it interesting, you can use our final prompts to execute on your own chatbot and get some results. I believe I didn't have enough time to check other references about these ideas, but I believe this could help parents and educators to, I don't know, bring those children higher, or how to say. So thank you for your attention. That's all from me.
Thank you so much. Nice presentation. So, how do you, I have one question. How do you ensure the data privacy and protection for children using the system?
I'm sorry, you asked about privacy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this I'm not sure if it concerns privacy because the idea of this workflow is to develop applications that kids use in house or in school. It's not something that's shared among, I don't know, a number of people. It's something that is quite personal. It's helping them to develop learn something easier. Uh, for instance, kids came from school and cannot find a way to I don't know for some topic they just can't improve it. But then their parent or educator or any other caregiver can try to sit down with them and write a prompt and create application that will help kid cover this topic. So it's personal. It's not something that will be shared or that it doesn't share any information. It's often it is often application working on local PC, local tablet,
Okay.
or if I
So,
understood the question.
can this framework be, extended to adult assistive applications or what?
I
I'm
believe it
asking for the
can
future
actually.
scope.
Yes, I believe it can because actually the idea is universal. Everyone who needs help in learning something, uh, or even it's not necessary about learning. It can be about some fine mechanics or something that kids also have problems. But in that case, you actually need to include someone interdisciplinary, some rehabilitators, logopeds, or how is that spoken in English? Because I, as an engineer of electrical engineering, I'm not capable of producing some
Yeah, yeah.
special things. I don't know about that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you for the question.
Thank you so much.
And one more question, if you please.
Yes,
Okay.
sure, sir.
Thank you very much for your report. Please, what impact does artificial intelligence, chatbots, um, uh, software have on learning engagement of children with special needs, or maybe on independence among children with special needs? Thank you.
Well, as stated, I'm not in this field. I can only talk from my personal experience. I have a kid with special needs, and in school, at least here in Croatia, I'm not sure how is your country or somewhere else. Uh, it's a constant fight. Uh, it's not easy for those children, and uh, actually, you as parent has to try more and more. There are some official there are professionals that work on this, but it's not something you can rely on it. So the impact for now, I don't see anything in school that uses AI currently here. Perhaps in some other country, yes, I don't know, but I believe the impact, at least I'm not a great fan of AI, etc. But this is something that can be really used for benefits of children, and I hope it will be used. But I have no idea. I have no. I'm not in this field, but what I see from my perspective on my kid, I don't see anything currently here in Croatia that could speak about impact of AI. I'm trying to do something for my kid and sharing this in order to perhaps have some minor impact.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mithya, so much for that encouraging and insightful presentation.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to introduce our other session chair. Just a moment. Yes. Professor Alexander Ledky. Professor Alexander Ledky is a professor at the State University of Trade and Economics, Kyiv, Ukraine. He serves in the Department of Tourism and Creative Industries Management and is an academician of the National Academy of Sciences of Higher Education of Ukraine, as well as a member of the National Geographic Society of the United States. His expertise span ecology, evolutionary biology, botany, and health economics. Sir, would you like to share some opening remarks?
Thank you very much. Mm, I wish a good luck for all professors in our team, for all our team, and I think we will have very fruitful cooperation and very interesting reports. And I'm waiting for fruitful discussion and questions about different topics. We have a lot of very interesting report connected with artificial intelligence and with other proposals for special needs. So I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving forward, I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Hanna Zaiko, and her paper topic is Artificial Intelligence in the Work of IT Industry Leaders, Team Stress Management. You may start with your presentation by sharing your screen.
Yes, thank you very much for your introduction. And please tell me if you can see my presentation now.
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Okay, so hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hanna Zaiko, and together with Dr. Ewa Makowska-Tłomak from SWPS University in Warsaw, I am pleased to present our research titled Artificial Intelligence in the Work of IT Industry Leaders Team Stress Management. And as we all know, we are currently witnessing a unique acceleration of digital transformation. Artificial intelligence is no longer an experimental technology. It is becoming embedded in everyday organizational processes. But Our question was, if AI supports data-driven decision-making in technical domains, can it also support leaders in managing something as human and complex as stress? So this question formed the core of our study. And today I will guide you through the theoretical foundation of our research, our methodology, and key findings, the AI chatbot prototype that we've developed, and finally, the limitation and future directions. So on this slide, you can see the broader context of our study. We are currently operating in a reality of dynamic digital transformation. ICT systems are deeply embedded in organizational structures, and technological change is no longer occasional, it is continuous. This makes understanding leaders' needs and the potential role of AI-based solutions increasingly important. And at the same time, digital transformation is not neutral from a psychological perspective. Research shows that stress is often linked to technological change, digitalization, and the growing use of advanced technologies in everyday work. Leaders are not only managing these systems, they are also personally exposed to them. So, this intersection between digital transformation and psychological strain created the starting point of our research. And as shown on the slide, our work is grounded in the job demands resources model developed by Demiruti and Bacher. And according to this framework, job demands such as workload, time pressure, and constant connectivity may lead to strain and burnout. However, job resources, including social support and technological tools, can buffer these negative effects. And in highly digitalized environments, such as the IT sector, leaders face continuous ICT availability, rapid project changes, remote and hybrid collaboration, and increasing psychological strains within teams. At the same time, AI-supported leadership is emerging as a new paradigm. AI systems allow personalization, data synthesis, and cognitive offloading. However, they also raise concerns regarding trust, privacy, and transparency. So the tension is clear. AI can be both a stressor and a resource. So this led us to ask, does openness to AI relate to lower digital transformation stress? Are leaders ready to use AI as a support tool? And what exactly do leaders expect from such tools? So we have a few key assumptions of our study. First, we assume that leaders are constantly exposed to ICT in their daily work. Second, we use the UTAUT model to measure their behavioral intention to use AI tools. And digital stress was assessed with the digital transformation stress scale. And we expected a significant relationship between digital stress levels and the AI acceptance components. And finally, after reviewing field literature, our goal was to develop a chatbot that functions as a support tool assisting leaders, but never making decisions for them. The three main aims of our study was to compare IT leaders and non-IT leaders in their acceptance of AI, examine whether attitudes towards AI are associated with digital transformation stress, and identify leaders' needs regarding an AI application supporting team stress management. So to that, we created two main hypotheses that we wanted to check. First hypothesis was IT leaders demonstrate higher acceptance of AI-based solutions than leaders from other sectors. And the second hypothesis was leaders with positive attitudes towards AI experience lower digital transformation stress. So now let me briefly describe how we conducted the study. We carried out a quantitative pilot survey between April and May last year. Our total sample consisted of 118 adults. Among them, 89 participants held leadership roles. And as you can see, a little over half of the leaders worked in the IT sector, and 60 leaders were interested in using the AI chatbot in their work. To measure digital stress, we use the digital transformation stress scale, and to assess attitudes towards AI, we applied a translated to Polish version of the Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology, which is also known as the UTAUT scale. Additionally, we included author-developed questions exploring desired chatbot functionalities, types of stress to be addressed, and concerns regarding AI implementation. And these responses directly informed the development of our prototype. So what were the results? As you can see, IT leaders demonstrated significantly higher acceptance of AI-based solutions, with median of 4 in the IT group and median of 2 in the non-IT leaders, and with p-value being significant, thus strongly supports hypothesis 1. In other words, professional context matters. Leaders embedded in technological environments appear more comfortable integrating AI leadership in practice. And now let me tell you the second results, second hypothesis. As leaders who express a positive attitude towards AI reported significantly lower levels of digital transformation stress compared to those with negative attitudes, with median DTS in positive group of 2 and median DTS in negative group of 3.67. And as P was also significant here, hypothesis 2 was confirmed. And what does it suggest? That openness to AI may function as a psychological resource. It may reflect similar insights as within research literature, like higher technological self-efficacy or greater perceived control over digital change. But of course, correlation does not imply causation, but this relationship is meaningful and should be explored. So now let's move on to the chat prototype. As you can see on the slide, the system is based on a retrieval augmented generation architecture, which is RAG. This approach combines a generative language model with a curated knowledge base grounded in evidence-based psychological materials. And why we use RAG, to reduce hallucinations, increase factual reliability, and anchor responses in verified academic sources. And the chatbot does not collect personal or sensitive data, provides informational and educational responses, and explicitly avoids diagnostic or decision-making authority. So it supports reflection rather than replacing leadership judgment. And this aligns with current research, suggesting that hybrid human AI advisory models are evaluated more positively than fully automated solutions. So what did leaders actually want from this AI tool? Increasingly, as for me was very surprising, they did not want primary request automated monitoring or predictive analytics. Instead, they wanted access to stress-related information, psychoeducational content, guidance on managing stress well-being, and monitoring stress levels was considered secondary. At the same time, leaders expressed concerns regarding data privacy, accuracy of AI-generated content, and excessive reliance on technology. And this clearly indicated that AI should function as a supportive partner and not a decision maker. So let me summarize the key conclusions. First, AI shows that there is a clear potential for AI as a resource in digital demanding environments. Second, openness to AI is associated with lower digital transformation stress. And third, leaders prefer AI tools that that educate, support, and enhance awareness rather than replace human judgment. Our prototype represents a proof of concept demonstrating how AI can be integrated possibly into leadership practice. And however, it is important to acknowledge a few limitations. This was a pilot study. The sample was limited to Polish participants. Online recruitment may have introduced AI internet bias. We examined leaders' perspectives only and not the team members. The prototype relied on publicly available models, which the quality is constantly rising. Moreover, real-world organizational testing has not yet been concluded. This subject requires further research. And what this research should include longitudinal studies in real organizations, usability workshops with end users, inclusion of employee perspectives, and stronger focus on ethics, transparency, and privacy, and testing long-term impact on both leaders' behavior and employee well-being will be crucial. So to conclude, artificial intelligence will not replace leaders, but it may become a scalable, low threshold resource that helps leaders navigate digital transformation with greater resilience. The key lies in the responsible design, ethical implementation, and human AI collaboration. And thank you so much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Thank you so much. So, what challenges do organizations face while implementing AI for these stress monitoring?
I believe the biggest problem could be the infrastructure. Sometimes the systems do not collect data in a way that can be interpreted by AI, and they are not ready to implement AI in that way.
One more questions, if you please.
Yeah, sure.
Dear Professor Zaiko, thank you very much for your report. And how do you think, for your opinion, what artificial intelligence tools are most effective for supporting stress management strategies in the work of IT industry leaders?
Okay, so I can say from developing this prototype, we used some manuals that help with. This is not a therapy bot, right? It just helps like average users and is not meant to be used in therapy. But therapy gives us certain mechanisms that can alleviate stress, and sometimes we are not aware of them. So this chatbot can give you examples of how to reduce stress. For example, like take a break or a specific other uh, exercise that is, for example, in behavioral cognitive therapy helpful. So I believe filling this chatbot with manuals can help a person help themselves, basically.
Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for that insightful and well-presented talk. We would be moving forward with our next participant, Marianne Nunes. I would ask her to present her paper on emotions and human-robot interaction, a systematic review. You may start your presentation by sharing your screen.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're audible.
All right, thank you so much. All right, good evening very much. My name is Mariane Núñez, and along with Professor Aime Barreda Parra and Professor Rosa Núñez Pacheco, we wrote this research called Emotions in Human-Robot Interaction, a systematic review, and we are from the National University of San Agustin in Arequipa, Peru. So I will begin today. So in this study, we wanted to understand something very important today. How do humans emotionally interact with robots? And well, today, robots are not only machines that clean floors or assemble cars. Now there are many robots that talk to us, they look at us, they help us, they even teach us, and now they even try to comfort us. So we want to begin with a really simple question. So can robots communicate emotions? Can they provoke emotions in humans? And how do people really feel when they interact with them? So this is what this research is about. First, why this topic is relevant. Because in recent years, robotics and artificial intelligence have developed very fast. We all know that. And robots are present in many areas like education, health, customer service, entertainment, social assistance. And it's interesting because the word robot originally comes from a term related to forced labor and service. So, from the very beginning, robots were created to serve humans. However, today, robots do more than just work. They enter our personal space, they interact with us, they become part of our social environment. And some researchers say that the robots are now entering the emotional sphere of human life, especially social robots. And what are social robots designed to feel, to think, and act in ways that resemble humans. They can use voice, gestures, facial expressions, touch, and body movements, and they collect information from humans and adapt their behavior. So it is emotional. Previous research has shown that people feel empathy, trust, curiosity, and sometimes discomfort when interacting with robots. So this field is definitely connected to effective computing. And effective computing studies how technology can recognize, interpret, and simulate human emotions. So our study is located at the intersection of psychology, computer science, and human interaction. Well, and the objectives for this study, the general objective was to analyze the role of emotions in human-robot interactions, and we also have three specific objectives. The first one was to identify functions that perform when interacting with humans. The second one, to recognize the types of robots used in previous studies. And finally, the third objective was to identify the emotions that appear during human-robot interactions. What was the methodology used for this study? Well, we used the PRISM review. We conducted a systematic review using the preferred reporting item for systematic reviews and meta-analysis called PRISMA, and it is a standardized method to search, select, and analyze scientific literature. We searched two major databases, Scopus and Web of Science, and we include studies published between 2000 and March 31st of 2025. We did not define starting year in advance, and we started with the earliest available publications. We used specific search equations that combine terms such as human-computer interaction, robot emotion, and affective. And we limited the search to psychology-related studies, articles, and publications in English. And after applying the PRISMA process, we obtained the following results. Initially, we found 38 records. And after removing duplicates and irrelevant studies, we reviewed in total 33 articles. And then we analyzed titles and abstracts. And after that, we evaluated full text. So after doing all of that, we selected 12 articles for the final analysis. And these 12 studies form the basis of our review. And now the results. First, regarding the general characteristics of the studies, most of the selected studies were conducted in universities, laboratories, and public spaces, where the researchers mainly came from Anglo-Saxon countries, from Central Europe and Northern Europe. Most studies involved adult participation, and many of them were university students. The experiments were conducted both individually and in groups, and over time, robots evolved. At the beginning, robots focused on simple functions, like, for example, gestures, movements, facial recognition, but later they developed more complex abilities. For example, verbal interaction, nonverbal communication, social behavior, and emotional expression. So what can we say about this? That this evolution reflects the progress of artificial intelligence. Now, let's talk about the robots themselves. The studies analyze different types of social robots. At first, robots were mainly mechanical. Later, more advanced models appear. For example, at the beginning, there were life-size humanoid robots, robot avatars, human avatars. Some robots were very simple. For example, the trash box robot. It hacks, it moves slightly, and it imitated simple movements. Then other robots were more advanced, like the Now robot. Now can speak, move its hand and hands, use gaze, and interact verbally. And some robots were used in education, healthcare, memory training, and entertainment. And what are the functions of, what were the functions of these robots? Teaching, assisting, entertaining, and communicating emotions. So we can say that their role, it's not only functional, but it's also social. And about the actions and emotional responses, well, let's analyze what users did and how they felt. The actions requested from users were very diverse. For example, observing robot faces, imitating expressions, playing games, memorizing words, participating in activities, etc. These activities were designed to provoke emotional reactions. And regarding emotional responses, we identified two main contexts: individual interaction and group interaction. In individual contexts, users show emotions such as anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise. And some studies also measure whether users believe that robots could feel pain. In group contexts, emotions were more complex. Participants expressed uneasiness, nervousness, strangeness, kindness, willingness to act, trust, and closeness. So we can say that not all responses were basic emotions, but affective states related to attitudes and social bonds. And this shows that interaction with robots is psychological rich. Also, we got results about facial expression and trust. This was, we can say that several studies show that the robot's face is enough or to communicate emotions. Even simple facial designs can express happiness, sadness, or anger. The anthropomorphic appearance of robots is definitely very important here. Robots that look more like us, that look more like humans, generate more trust, more safety, and more emotional connections. And users are more willing to interact with social robots than with purely functional ones. So this is especially important for vulnerable groups such as children, the elderly, and patients. Social robots can provide continuous support and compassion, definitely. So emotional design is a key factor in acceptance. Um, just what was our main conclusion is that robots are perceived as emotions because they can display emotions, elicit emotions, and communicate affect. However, this does not mean that robots really feel. We know that. They simulate emotions through algorithms, and most studies use self-reports. Participants describe how they felt. Some studies also measure psychological signals, for example, heart rate, skin conductance, and eye contact responses. Interestingly, self-reports often match psychological data. This shows that emotional reactions were genuine. We also found consensus about six basic emotions: anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. But in many contexts, affect went beyond these categories. Like I mentioned before, in group interaction, it produced more complex emotions like trust, discomfort, and altruism. So in this study, we show that robots can successfully imitate human emotions, and then they can create emotional bonds, they can influence human behavior, and they are perceived as social actors. However, robots are not aware of emotions. They do not experience feelings, they only process data. And in summary, this systematic review shows that human-robot interaction is not only technical, it is also emotional, it is also social, and it is deeply human as well. Robots can support us, they can help us, they can accompany us, but for now, they cannot replace human emotional awareness. So it is really important to understand this balance. So it's really essential to understand this balance for responsible development. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions.
So, ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
No, no.
One question, if you please. Um, Thank you very much for your report. It's very interesting. It's very actual topic, emotions and human robot relations. Uh, what about my questions? Um, What how do you think, what research gaps and what future directions exist in the study of emotions in human-robot interaction? Thank you.
Right. So, what are the search gaps in this study? Is that your question, Professor Alexker?
Research gaps. What research gaps in and exist in the study of emotions in human-robot interactions? We have not only positive effect of this interaction, but maybe we have some other types of effects, maybe some negative one. So, what research gaps and directions exist in the study of emotion of human-robot
Okay.
interactions? Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Professor. Yeah, one of the gaps are definitely between the limited conceptual clarity between, for example, emotion and affect. And why? Because in this research, we have seen that in many studies, yes, they identify the six basic emotions, but they also report broader affective states, like I mentioned, for example, trust in group research. However, in these studies, not all of them distinguish between emotion, between mood or attitudes or affective states. So we believe that this is definitely a research gap in our study. And thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne, for that wonderful presentation. It was really insightful to listening to you. Next up, for our next presenter, I would like to call upon Norsyahira Khairul Anor to present her paper on mobile application features and user-centered design for indigenous communities in Poslingdian, Malaysia. You may start with your presentation by sharing your screen.
Can you see my, hello, can you see my slide?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Hi and good day, everyone. My name is Noshahira Karama, and today I'm pleased to present our work titled Mobile Application Features and User-Centered Design for Indigenous Community in Post-Lanjang, Malaysia. For your information, this project is supported by the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia under the Translational Research Program with TNB Energy Service as our industry partner. So our study explore on how context-aware mobile design can support both energy management and digital empowerment in remote indigenous communities. So, for introduction and problem context, rural electrification effort have reached remote indigenous communities such as in Post-Lanjang. But digital inclusion still remain a significant challenge. Despite of having energy access, the communities still struggle to manage their limited resources due to low digital literacy and lack of monitoring tools. Most of the time, conventional mobile applications are designed for users that with stable internet access and higher digital literacy. So these conditions are not present in this environment of the indigenous community. So here we have developed EcoTribe to address this gap through an offline capable culturally adapted mobile application, and we co-design with the indigenous community itself. So EcoTrack aims to enhance smart energy usage, support daily livelihood activities, and ensure accessibility for individuals with limited digital experience. So this is our study area, located at Pos Lenjang, Kuala Lipis, Pahang, Malaysia. In Pos Lenjang, we have 10 indigenous villages. In the 10 village, we have 4 community-based microhydro station. For the phase 1, we selected one village to be included in the training, and the selection is based on the community readiness, leadership support, and accessibility. So this selected microhydro site serve as the primary contact for our field deployment. So designing for rural indigenous community present a unique challenge that differs significantly from conventional mobile application environment. So firstly, the community demonstrate a low level of digital literacy, meaning to say that many indigenous itself are not familiar with common interface pattern or mobile navigation structure. And secondly, in the area, the internet connectivity is limited and often unstable. This making continuous online access unreliable. And there are also language and functional literacy barrier where text-heavy interface may reduce usability. So given this constraint, conventional mobile application design approach may not be suitable for this context. So we have come up with the strategic response where EcoTrack adopt a user-centered and context-driven design approach. And then this development prioritize active community participation, cultural adaptation, and accessibility for low literacy users. And the application itself was adapted to reflect daily practice, familiar symbol, and local environmental realities. So this approach was delivered through the structured user-centered design methodology. So for design methodology, we have 4 phases, which is first, we conduct problem identification and requirement gathering through field observation and interview local community and stakeholders. So this allows us to understand the real digital challenge faced by the community itself. After we identified the requirement, we translated it into a low fidelity wireframes with strong emphasis on icon-based navigation and minimal text to ensure the accessibility. After the validated wireframe, we then transform the wireframe into the functional prototype, cultural application using familiar local symbols to enhance intuitive recognition. And lastly, field-based usability testing was conducted, followed by iterative refinement to ensure long-term sustainability and community adoption. So this is our system architecture. The architecture illustrates how energy data from the microhydro system is transmitted to a cloud-based database and then integrate to the EcoTrack mobile application. So within the EcoTrack mobile application, they have 2 access level, which is open access and secure access. For open access, user basically doesn't need to log in, meaning to say they can generally look for the energy monitoring, and also appliance simulator. But for secure access, the owner itself must log in so that they can put their smart farming tracking, handicraft, and homestay details inside the module. So this is our EcoTribe modules, core modules. In EcoTribe, we have 5 core modules, which is micro hydro monitoring, appliance simulator, smart farming, homestay, and handicraft. So EcoTribe is structured into 2 primary domains, which is energy management and livelihood support. The energy management integrate micro hydro monitoring with appliance simulation and enable household to manage usage within a limited supply. Basically, they will get around 500 to 700 watts per household. For the livelihood support, they will include smart farming for crop recording and yield tracking, homestay for ecotourism, and handicraft for digital product showcasing for income generation. So together, these modules extend the application beyond energy tracking into sustainable income generation. And all features are delivered through an offline first, icon-driven interface tailored for low literacy indigenous user. So comparison between existing energy application. Most of the existing applications are designed for urban and digitally literate or user with stable internet connection. In contrast with EcoTribe, it is specifically tailored for rural indigenous community in off-grid micro-hydro areas and can operate within limited connectivity environment. Unlike conventional energy monitoring apps that focus on solely consumption analytics, EcoTribe integrates livelihood modules such as smart farming and homestay management. So this position EcoTribe not merely as an energy awareness tool, but as a socio-economic empowerment platform. For impact and implication, the implementation of EcoTribe contributes to digital inclusion and community empowerment. It enhances energy awareness in off-grid households, enable informed electricity planning, as mentioned, 500 watt to 700 watt units per household. At the same time, the livelihood modules promote micro-entrepreneurship and ecotourism participation. This project also aligns with several sustainable development goals, particularly SDG 7 on affordable and clean energy, SDG 8 on decent work and economic growth, and SDG 10 on reduced inequalities. This innovation of EcoTribe also has been recognized with special and gold award at MTE SDG 2025. So, as conclusion, EcoTribe demonstrates that rural electrification alone is not sufficient without digital empowerment. So through context-aware and user-centered design approach, this study shows how modern technology can support both energy management and sustainable livelihood development in remote indigenous community. So while this initial deployment show promising outcome, future work will involve large-scale field implementation, real-time energy data integration, and long-term usability evaluation. So ultimately, EcoTribe provides a scalable and inclusive framework for digital innovation in underserved rural environments. Thank you.
So, ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
Yes, just so how will the applications be maintained and updated after deployment?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Not able to hear you, Raja.
May you repeat the question?
So how does the app function in low connectivity or or rural network conditions?
Um, in the area of Semenjang, there's the internet connectivity is most likely unstable, and our developer made the apps can be used without internet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
One more question, if you please. Thank you very much for your report. I have to say that I'm living in Ukraine, and we have a lot of indigenous communities in my country, especially on Carpathian regions, maybe in some other highlands. So, how do you think? Do you have any implementation of your methods for other indigenous communities, not only in your home country, but maybe in European ones or maybe American ones? How can we implement in your experience? Thank you.
As for now, this implementation has been done in our country, and if let's say if we want to implement, sorry, let's say if we want to implement to the another country, we may share the architecture of the development itself, so that we can exchange the maybe the architecture or framework of the application.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Narsiahira, for that informative and engaging presentation. Next, I would like to call upon David Agost Beltran to present his paper on perceptual sensitivity to rotation and noise in natural images. You may present your paper by sharing your screen.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so good evening to everyone. I'm David Agost from Universitat Jaume I in Castellón, Spain. And today I'll be presenting our work on perceptual sensitivity to rotation and Gaussian noise in natural images. So first of all, the motivation. Why do we study the perception of rotation in humans? Well, humans are naturally robust to rotation. We recognize objects across orientations effortlessly. Convolutional neural networks, however, are not inherently rotation invariant. Most of them achieve robustness through data augmentation. If we want artificial systems to handle rotation more naturally, we first need to understand how humans perceive rotational differences. And this matters in real-world applications, such as autonomous driving, medical imaging, or aerial imagery, where orientation changes are common. And why do we also study the perception of Gaussian noise? Well, we know a great deal about perceptual responses to distortions such as Gaussian noise, blur, and compression, as they have been extensively studied in the field of image quality assessment, relying on mean opinion scores, where observers rate the image quality on an absolute scale. However, rotation is absent from this kind of benchmarks. And unlike Gaussian noise, it's not simply a degradation of the image. It preserves local structure and changes the global spatial organization. So in order to make a fair comparison, we measured in our experiment both Gaussian noise and rotation using the same experimental conditions. And this allowed us to ask a question. Is rotation just another form of image degradation, or does it follow a fundamentally different perceptual rule? So now I will go with the methodology. Here you can see two pictures of our experimental setup. In our experiment, 164 participants completed the task, ranging in age from 18 to 60 years, including both male and female participants. The experiment was conducted in controlled laboratory conditions and a low light environment. And every participant performed both rotation and Gaussian noise blocks. If you want, you can check the video of the setup. It's available in YouTube. We used 24 natural images from the Kodak lossless dataset, and to prevent participants from using external cues when rotating the images, all images were circularly masked with blurred edges. Each image was manipulated in two ways, depending on if it was a rotation trial or Gaussian noise trial. For rotation, we created 10 levels of distortion from 0 to 18 degrees to the left in 2 degrees increment. And for Gaussian noise, we also created 10 levels of distortion with increases of 0.009 variance units, ranging from 0 to 0.008. Here you can see a screen that was shown to the participants. It's a tutorial. And instead of asking participants to rate quality, as it's done in the classical experiments in image quality assessment, we used a quadruple comparison paradigm, which is a well-established psychophysical procedure. And in each trial, observer saw two pairs of images, one on the left and one on the right. And they were asked to choose which pair showed the larger perceptual differences. Each trial involves only one type of distortion, either Gaussian noise or rotation. In this case, we can see in the screen an example of rotation. And this comparative method allows us to estimate a latent perceptual scale that we will see in the next slides. well, here you can see another example. When we see the pair on the left with a small difference in rotation and the pair on the right with a bigger difference. So in this case, the participant should choose the right pair. Before interpreting the perceptual scales that we obtained, we verified the data reliability and we did a behavioral validation. First, we performed a psychophysical analysis, which is called the point of subjective equality. And the PSE is the point where the observer chooses each option 50% of the time. Meaning that, for example, we have got in the x-axis the difference in degrees between the left pair and the right pair. So if we have the point of subjective equality, for example, in 2 degrees, that would mean that the participants had a bias in choosing the right pairs. But in this case, we performed the test and we found that our PSE falls in 0.37, which is inside the confidence interval, and then we conclude that there was no systematic left-right bias. Then we also check the reaction times, which followed an Gaussian distribution, and it's a very typical distribution for perceptual decision tasks. And finally, we also analyze the relationship between the time and the difficulty. On the x-axis, we show the difference in rotation between the left pair and the right pair, which reflects the task difficulty. A value of 0 degrees of difference means no difference, so there won't be a right answer for the experiment, and that's why it's a difficult task. Also, values near 0 are more difficult than comparisons with a larger difference. And as we can see, the responses that were more difficult had a higher reaction time, and the easier comparisons had a lower reaction time. Now we move to the results. In order to estimate this perceptual scale, we used a method called MLDS, the maximum likelihood difference scaling, which estimates a latent perceptual scale from the judgments of the participants. This model assumes internal decision noise and recovers a scale normalized by sigma, which is internal noise, and reflects perceptual consistency. Here we can see the average MLDS perceptual scales for all the images. For rotation, perceived distortion increases approximately linearly with the angle. As you can see, if we check the difference between level 2 and 3, we found that the increment in the y-axis is very similar to the increment in the y-axis for levels 8 to 9. However, for Gaussian noise, the curve is clearly nonlinear and saturating, meaning that early increments of noise are highly salient, and the later increments become perceptually compressed. As you can see, if we check the difference between level 2 and 3, we found it's 0.5 in the y-axis, and for level 8 to 9, we've got only 0.07 difference in y-axis. Now, if we analyzed every image for the rotation, we can see that some images show smooth, increasing perceptual scales, and other images show irregular progressions. Since the scale is normalized by sigma, the internal noise, as I said, the lower final values indicate greater internal variability and therefore greater difficulty in perceiving rotational differences. In other words, when the curve remains lower, rotation is harder to discriminate in that image. So in this case, these are the most difficult images in the experiment for rotation. Here we also perform a RMSI. We expressed the perception in terms of accumulated RMSI to check if we can find a simple metric that could predict the rotation. But we found that for rotation, identical angular increments produce different RMSI changes. So this means that it fails to capture the perceived differences. But for Gaussian noise, we have a very different results. And we can find that when we express the perceptual scale as function of RMSI, the alignment becomes clearer. It increases almost identically across images at its distortion level. In other words, Gaussian noise behaves as a relatively uniform energy-based distortion. So the conclusions, the perceived distortion increases approximately linear for rotation. Rotational sensitivity is image dependent, indicating that perception is driven by structural content. Also, we found that pixel-wise metrics fail to reliably predict perceived rotational differences. And that takes us to the future lines, which we are currently working on. Explore whether image properties such as symmetry orientation cues account for rotational sensitivity. Also, if any metric other than RMS better reflect the perception of rotation, and if neural networks can reflect the human rotational perception. So thanks for your attention. You can find our code in GitHub, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Well, ma'am, do you have any questions for him?
Thank you. No question from my side.
One more question, if you please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your report. And how do you explain what cognitive and perceptual mechanism underlie sensitivity to geometric transformation and noise in natural images? It means computer. What computer mechanism underlie?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question?
What cognitive and perceptual mechanism underlie sensitivity to geometric transformation and noise in natural image? What concrete mechanism, cognitive or perception?
Yes. So basically, in this study, what we try to find is why we obtain these results, because it's evident that for the Gaussian noise, there's a pixel-wise based logic, but we did not found the relationship between the results for the rotation. One can think that, for example, the images with a lot of vertical lines or horizontal lines would be easier to perceive the rotation. But when you check the results, you might find that it's not the case. So that's what we are trying to respond if there's like a clear relation between the perception of rotation and some kind of metric or maybe feature in the images.
Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate your time and effort in presenting such an excellent presentation.
Thank you so much.
Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Hiranya Mendes to present his paper on predicting match outcomes in tennis using tactical indicators. You may share your paper by presenting your screen. David, if you could please stop sharing your screen. Mr. Mendes, are you there?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And can you see the screen as well?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen. You may start with your presentation, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay, hi, I'm Hirani Menis, and I'm from Sri Lanka Institute of Information and Technology. And let me start with a simple question. It's a very simple question. If the world number 3 ranked player and the world number 18 ranked player plays a tennis match, who would you think, who would you bet that wins? The most prediction models would confidentially say that it is number 3. But tennis has a habit of ignoring confidence. Sometimes the lower ranked player serves incredibly well. Sometimes they dominate long rallies. Sometimes they save every break point. And suddenly the ranking looks less powerful. That observation is the starting point of my research. So today I'll be presenting predicting the match outcomes in tennis using tactical indicators. And this study examines whether tactical performance can improve tennis match prediction beyond the traditional ranking-based systems. So, tennis prediction is widely studied in sports analytics, and traditional models rely mainly on player rankings, historical win-loss record, head-to-head statistics, and these indicators are useful, but they represent historical strength, and they do not necessarily reflect what happens during the match itself. And many matches are decided in specific tactical moments like strong serving performance, long rally dominance, or efficient breakpoint conversion. Yet many prediction models treat tennis as if it were static, but tennis is dynamic, and it evolves point by point. So the key motivation behind this research is that can we structure a tennis prediction around tactical phases rather than just rankings? So when reviewing the literature, several issues became clear. First, tactical indicators are often studied individually, and second, they are rarely integrated into a unified predictive framework. And third, there is limited representation of serve dynamics, rally control, and breakpoint pressure situations. And finally, there is no clear structured linkage between tactical phases and machine learning models. So, in other words, we have many ingredients but no structured recipe. And that lack of structure limits predictive performance and interpretability. The objectives of this study were to systematically review research from 2015 to 2025, which gives the latest research outcomes, and to identify the most influential tactical indicators, and to compare statistical, machine learning, and hybrid models, and to propose a phase-based hybrid predictive framework. So this is not a new dataset experiment. It is a structured analytical synthesis with a conceptual modeling contribution, and the goal is clarity and structured integration. As I mentioned earlier, the early tennis prediction relied on ELO rating system, Glyco rating system, Markov chain models, and recursive probability formulas. And these models are mathematically elegant, and they calculate probabilities such as probability of winning a game, probability of winning a set, and probability of winning a match. However, they assume point as a independence, but tennis is not independent from point to point. Anyone who has watched a tight fifth set knows momentum exists, pressure changes serve quality, confidence influences shot selection. Yet the traditional models assume stability, and they treat player strength as static, and that assumption limits tactical realization. With machine learning, researchers started to incorporating tactical indicators such as serve performance, rally length, breakpoint efficiency, fatigue. Machine learning models allows nonlinear feature interactions, context-aware modeling, and adaptive predictions. So this represent a major shift from strength-based prediction to performance-based prediction. However, in machine learning models, features were often mixed with clear tactical structuring. That gap led to the phase-based idea. Tennis can be structured into three main tactical phases: the serve phase, rally phase, and breakpoint phase, and each phase behaves differently. Serve phase has high frequency structural advantage, play initiative control, and the rally phase has the sustained tactical exchange, endurance and consistency matter, and of course in breakpoint, high psychological pressure and decisive, but it is less frequent. If we treat all phases equally in a model, we ignore how tennis is actually played. That insight is central to this study. So the proposed framework follows this kind of structure. First, we have the match data, features into the phase segmentation, feature extraction, normalization, predictive models, and outcome, the probability. And the predictive engines includes the logistic regression, artificial neural networks, support vector machines, and of course, hybrid ELO plus ML models. The key difference is structured phase integration. Instead of throwing everything into one model, we categorize indicators by tactical role. This improves interpretability and modeling clarity. So let's examine the indicators. Serve indicators. First serve percentage, second serve win percentage, aces, double faults. These are all keywords used in tennis. I hope you know your tennis if you are watching this. Um, Serve dominance limits opponent opportunities. So rally indicators has rally length points on in extended uh, exchanges, and this reflects sustained tactical control. When it comes to breakpoint indicators, the number of breakpoint faced and breakpoints converted, these moments are really dramatic, but they do not occur as frequently as serve events. Frequency matters in predictive modeling. So across the literature, the logistic regression has the strong baseline and interpretability. The artificial neural network provide capture. It captures nonlinear tactical relationships, and SVMs has the effectiveness for high dimensional features, and the hybrid models uh, has combined rating systems and machine learning, and of course achieve strongest overall performance. Hybrid models succeed because they combine long-term strength with short-term tactical variation. It's like combining experience with adaptability. A major insight from the review is the ranking. Serve is greater than rally, rally is greater than a breakpoint. Serve performance consistently emerges as the strongest predictor. Why? Because serve occurs every game. High frequency plus structural advantage. Rally characteristics come second. They reflect sustained tactical control. Breakpoints are decisive, but they are less frequent. Predictive strength depends on both impact into frequency. So, dramatic does not always mean statistically dominant. That insight is important for feature weighting. So, the results suggest serve dominance provides structural advantage, rally performance reflects consistency and endurance, breakpoints are situational, and predictive strength is influenced by both frequency and impact. And therefore, phase based modeling improves both predictive power and interpretability. The models were evaluated using accuracy, precision, ROI, cross validation, test evaluation, and hybrid models consistently outperform traditional statistical approaches. But it gains are incremental, which suggests that structured modeling is necessary. Despite the progress, there are some limitations remains. Limited real-time data integration, psychological resilience underrepresented, heavy reliance on aggregated statistics like point level modeling, and of course minimal multi-model integration. So the future systems may include real-time data streams, player tracking, psychological metrics that represents the next evaluation of tennis analytics. And this study contributes in two major ways. Theoretical contribution, when it comes to it has a structured phase-based abstraction, rank tactical insight, and of course clear linkage between phases and predictive models. And practical contribution is that guidance for coaches, foundation for real-time prediction systems, adaptable framework for live analytics. So it moves tennis prediction toward the tactical realism. So to conclude, ranking, rankings tell us who should win. Tactical indicators tell us who is playing better. Serve dominates, rally sustains, breakpoints decide. but structure explains everything. Thank you very much for your time.
So, ma'am,
Do you
do
have
you
any
have
questions?
any questions for him?
Questions, if you please. As I as I think, as I understand, this information of tennis match prediction, it's very important one, and maybe someone not a moral man, maybe some criminals try to use this in their criminal deals. How do you think? How can we protect uh, tennis match prediction results from criminals? Maybe do you have some model how to make this protection, how to uh, create a specific environment to protect uh, your results? Thank you.
Well, that is a very valid point that you pointed out. Um, uh, well, you are not just thinking about prediction accuracy. You are also thinking about ethical and security implication. If I got you correct. So tennis match prediction is in every sport. Prediction is absolutely using nowadays for betting as well. So no sport is exceptions. No, no one has any exceptions. So the risk arises when prediction systems are used for illegal betting networks, data exploited for match fixing, and if the results are manipulated for financial gain.
Mm.
So, in my opinion, I think you should have the access control. Only authorized users can access. I think this model I intend to use for only players and coaches, so they can have better understanding of the player and the game itself. And of course, the encryption part and logging and monitoring should be there. That should prevent the bulk scraping or automated extraction. And again, it should have the backup from governance and in an ethical framework with clear usage policy, transparency, and all with that. So at the moment, this is in very conceptual level. So I think we have to go through other security frameworks in order to protect the nature of sports. I think the ethical side of the sports.
I understand you. Thank you very much. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendes. Such a wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to conclude this session by thanking our authors for their excellent presentations and valuable contributions to this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative and enriching for everyone. All the presenters will receive their digital certificates via email within 2 working days. The publication will be live within 7 to 8 months. Kindly cooperate with the ICICT 2026 team. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for your continued support through the 11th edition and all the previous editions. We look forward to welcoming you again for the 12th edition in 2027. Now, as a token of appreciation for our session chair, I'd like to display these certificates on behalf of Team ICICT 2026 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. I would now like to invite our session chair to kindly deliver some closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. So it has been a privilege to serve as a session chair for this session. So would like to thank Amit sir, Mihir sir, for giving me this opportunity. So all the presentations were valuable and it was very good. So also all thank participants for their active involvement and thoughtful interaction, which made the session lively and meaningful. So special appreciation to the organizing team for their coordination and excellent arrangements throughout the conference. Thank you once again for making this session a great success.
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, thank you so much, ma'am. Sir, would you like to share some words? Alexander Legde, sir.
It's for me?
Yes, sir. Would you like to share some words?
Oh, I'm very proud to take part in your famous conference connected with information communication technologies. We have a very fruitful and very interesting report from different regions, from different countries of the world, from Poland, Sri Lanka, what else? Malaysia, Peru, and others. And it was very interesting to listen to different problems of artificial intelligence development, especially for children with special needs. And it was very interesting report about artificial intelligence in the work of IT industry leaders. As for me, it's very unique and very extraordinary information about emotions in human robot interactions. It's a brand new direction in IEE technologies. It was very interesting, especially for me, to listen to experience of mobile application using for indigenous communities in Malaysia, and about sensitivity to rotation and noise in natural images. What about prediction match outcomes in tennis? I remember a unique movie named The Rain Man. This movie was connected with the hazard games, not tennis one, not sport games, but this movie show this unique topic how uh, to protect the results of hazard games from criminals. That's why I have these questions for about a tennis match and tennis games for Professor Mendes. Um, Thank you very much for your report and for your attendance of our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our session chair too for chairing this session with great energy and for their valuable presence and guidance throughout the session. In the end, I would kindly request all of you to switch on your cameras for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference for valuable memories to display on the conference website. Okay. Everybody smile. Thank you, everyone. It was an honor having you guys here. Take care, stay safe. Bye.